Let me ask you, Mr. President, you see what is going on with Vladimir Putin. He invaded a sovereign country. You see that a maternity hospital was hit yesterday. You see that entire neighborhoods have been leveled. We showed some images. There was a mass grave of about 70 people. We've seen dead bodies of men, women, and children in the streets of Ukraine. Your reaction to what you're seeing?
Well, my reaction is it's so sad because this would have never happened. If we had the Trump administration, there was no chance that this would happen. And I know him well. And this was not something that was going to happen at all. And next you'll see. I mean, let's see what happens. Let's just watch. But when this horrible situation happened in Afghanistan, it's not even believable how incompetent it was. The way they withdrew or surrendered or whatever you want to call it, bad things started happening for our country. The border's bad. A lot of things are bad. Inflation's bad. But the way they got out of Afghanistan looked like a complete surrender. And I'll tell you, Putin was watching and President Xi was watching and the leaders in Iran were watching and Kim Jong-un was watching, North Korea. They were all watching, Sean. And I'll tell you, bad things started to happen. They no longer respect our country. And that's how this came about. It would have never, ever happened. And he understood that. We talked about it, and we talked about it strongly. Let me ask you something.
Because under the Biden-Obama administration, in 2014, they annexed Crimea. Nothing happened when you were president. And now this just happened with Ukraine once again. And now they're invading the whole damn country. And innocent men, women, and children are getting killed. And let me ask you, you say under your administration this never would have happened. Why do you say that with such confidence?
Well, before I answer that, I'll tell you that under the Bush administration, it was Georgia. Not the Georgia that we know and love, but Georgia nevertheless. It was Georgia. And so it happened, but nothing happened during our administration. And that includes with Taiwan. Now they're flying bombers right over the middle of Taiwan. That didn't take place. Nobody discussed it. And I also had the conversation with President Xi of China. But I had a very strong conversation with President Putin, and he understood. And I won't go into the great details of the conversation because nobody has to know that. But I will tell you, it never, ever would have happened if I was president, if we had the Trump administration in there, like we had tremendous years, tremendous success, economy, energy independent, all of the things that the largest tax cuts in the history of our country, which helped bring about the greatest economy we've ever had, this would have never, ever happened. So when I look at it and I look at the horrible things taking place, you wouldn't even believe what's taking place. I mean, to have everything on video because people have cell phones today. So you see all of this, you see most of it in one form or another on video. It's a horrible thing to watch. It would have never happened, and it never should have happened. I just watched on your show, I just watched the vice president laughing about the immigration. That's this horrible situation with the immigration, and I just watched the laugh, and it was almost like the laugh of a mad woman to be laughing about that. It's a sad situation. We have people in there that are grossly incompetent, and you know it, and so does everybody else. And by the way, and so do the Democrats know it.
I'm going to get back to the issue of why Putin wouldn't do it if you were president. You came under some fire when you said that Vladimir Putin's very smart. I think I know you a little bit better than most people in the media, and I think you also recognize he's evil, do you not?
Well, I was referring to the fact that he said this is an independent nation, talking about Ukraine. And I said, some said, this is before there was any attack. He's calling it an independent nation. Now, a lot of things are changing. When you look, this doesn't seem to be the same Putin that I was dealing with. But I will tell you, he wouldn't have changed. If I were dealing with him, he wouldn't have changed. You know, I supplied, and I know Biden is trying to take credit, and they're all trying to take credit about many of the things, the incredible things that we did in the Trump administration. But we supplied the anti-tank busters. They're called javelins. Yeah. And without them, you wouldn't have anything like what's happening. I mean, they're knocking out the tanks one after another. And This has become a much tougher situation, much, much tougher. Also, gunnery for the aircraft, for knocking out aircraft. You know, a lot of aircraft's been knocked out of the air. That's why everyone's saying, how come there aren't very many Russian planes overhead? Well, we hit them with the Stingers and all of the other things that we supplied. We supplied tremendous amounts of equipment so they could defend themselves, and they've done a great job. You look at what's happening, however, with the planes. That's all botched up. The planes from Poland, that's all botched up, and it's
would you have allowed
terrible
those
thing to be watching.
Would you have provided planes to Ukraine now that they're showing a willingness to take on Putin and fight?
Well, I would have done it a lot differently than they've done it. And what they've done is just terrible. Back and forth between the United States. Look, Biden, every time he gets up, he says they are a nuclear nation. He should say we are a nuclear nation. And, you know, I rebuilt our whole nuclear arsenal. Stronger, bigger, better than ever before. It's better and it's bigger than Russia. He should say, we are a nuclear nation, and we don't want war, and we don't want to wipe out anything to do, and we don't want to wipe out Russia. This is the way he should be talking. Instead, he's saying, we don't want war. We're not. You know, he doesn't talk about our nuclear capability. He keeps saying that they are a nuclear nation. We don't want war. And he's playing right into Putin's hands when he does that. But Putin's having a lot of trouble right now. He's having big, big trouble because he thought this was going to be a 48-hour deal, and the Ukrainians are good fighters. And largely, to a large extent, or certainly a big help, was the fact that we gave them a lot of javelins. You know, they say, I don't know if you know, Sean, they say that Obama, Biden gave them blankets, and Trump gave them anti-tank busters and javelins.